All right, welcome back, y'all. What it do? Hope you're doing well. Welcome back to the third episode of Notion Beats Deconstructed. We are in IllNote Studios in lovely Toronto, Canada. Spring has sprung, but it's still a little windy outside. But mate, we are mixing indoors. We're happy. So, this is the first beat that I have deconstructed, which is not just mine. It is a co-production. My homie by the name of Ben Tramer. Comes to my crib every now and again, like usually once a month we meet up. We try to do it every 2 weeks, but once a month realistically. And we probably have, we have 2 beat sessions, one in the nighttime, one the next day. And we make typically like 10 to 20 beats in those times. This is one from February last year. And then it's, one of my favorite beats. In that February last year, we made sexy R&B beats. That was the theme of the month. We gave ourselves a bit of a challenge. So, let me just play you the beat, and we'll break down how it goes. So, this one's called Grown. So there you have it. That's essentially what the beat is at the moment. This is not a song yet. This is just something that we made on the day, and we expanded it into this big pack, as you see. Haven't really made arrangements yet, nor written anything. So let me just start with how we started off. So I got codecs. As part of the Waves plugin bundle, you get a couple synths, and one of them is codecs. Codecs is very new to me. So I just decided that day when Ben Tramer was over to go through this, just start here and go through the presets until we find something we like, and we did. So we went through everything and then went through the presets, and we found this thing called DTIM. I don't think we changed it too much, but Ben Tramer is really useful and super dope and original on the keys. And so he sits down there, and he presses whatever and finds the melodies. We decide together what kind of sound we're going through. So I'll be on the computer with the mouse, clicking to the presets. He's on the MPK, banging out some keys. So then we just clicked through, and then we found this, and this is the first melody that we started with. All right. Fairly straightforward, a little repetitive with a slight switch up at the end of the 4. So then that was a dope start. We're like, okay, that has a nice feel to it, nice tone, and then we just kept going through. So we went to the next part. I believe it was this bit, and I'll just play it. Play it by itself so you can actually hear it. This is just a little fill at the very end. And that's a different sound that we found, again, in codecs, the Magnolia arpeggiator. I don't think we even changed anything on that. Nice, big, dirty reverb and a delay on it. That's what we did. That's what I did. But other than that, so we start off with the DTIM and the Magnolia from codecs. And then Ben Tramer added in this portamento. Super fire, love that. And then there's another one as well. Same melody, just different feel. So with that, and that playing, we get a little of this. is sick. That just sat with me so nicely. We were just so pumped. I was just jumping up and down. I'm like, let me in to do the bass and the drums, because usually how Ben Tramer and I work, he seems to be a little nicer on the keys and finding the melodies. I kind of picked the sound, and we both kind of picked the sound together, and then that came out as we built it in layers. And then so I sit down and I'm like, look, it needs a little more low end, it needs a little something, something. I think actually this lush fifths part was added in by Ben Tramer before I sat down. Let's have a listen to that just quickly. That adds it in. Okay, so then this is the next step from me with the low end approach. So I did some bass bassoon, I think it is. I just went right down. So I used the same notes from the other thing and just used this. Okay, and then I went in and grabbed a sample from the IllMind Blap kits. I grabbed one of the bass notes, happened to be the F1, and then made myself a little, whew. Gee whiz. So for a wave sound just to be put into a MIDI like that, that's really well done. So I put it into the EXS24, and then that mapped it into my keyboard, so I had every single note from the one wave sound. So that's dope. That's how I got my bass. So those together really add in the rest of that equation. So I'll add everything in now. Isn't that nice? So we got all the bass and the synth and everything else. So we're going to get rid of all that, and we're going to focus on the drums now. So that was the first part of the beat, and that's what we got. So drums, I'll just play them all together, and then I'll break down what I did and how I laid it and what I did as far as routing. Very minimal, but here we go. So there's a little bit going on in there. A lot of it gets slightly hidden in the mix. This is not a final session, by the way. This is just to show you guys how I made it and got to the end result. So I'll start off by showing you the kicks, and we'll just go from the bottom to the top here. So I've got two kicks. The reason why, I've got some parallel processing on that, so to give it some extra boom and some bap down below. Have a listen to the kicks. I'm supposed to go solo, not mute. Nice and punchy, nice and low. I've got two layers of hats. Alright, so with the hats, let me just show you a quick trick I do with those. You hear how it pitches down in certain sections. What I've done is the same thing with the bass note. I grabbed the one hi-hat noise that I wanted, put it into the EXS24, so I had it across every key on my keyboard, and as I played it, I pressed a different note to switch it up. So that's how you get the two different sounds into one thing. You're going to map it out. So there's that, and then there's the second one, the percussion hats, which I actually got from, again, the IllMind packs. That's really random, but when you put both the hats together, that actually works. Add some like depth to it. Otherwise it's too thin. So then next step, we're going to do the percussion, just like some more percussion additives. So this is on the snare particularly. Little drip drip. Little like electricity static. I have no idea what that is. The snare and these two percussion noises were in the IllMind packs. I suggest you buy those because they're absolute fire. I use them all the time. The sounds are out of control. Royalty free unless you make a $1 million banger. But other than that, mate, get those IllMind drums up here. And then we'll go to the snares that I chose. I got two, just laid two. Sometimes I do more, sometimes I do less. Sometimes I run fast, sometimes I rock. Okay, here we go. Oh. Okay, so sounds like I dropped my snare in a bucket of water. There's also a big... Well, it's pretty much the same thing. Sorry, actually, this is just the parallel on the snare. My bad. I thought it was two different ones. So, same approach with the kick. Just did some parallel processing. Just put a limiter on it. I loved how everything was sitting, so I'm like, screw it. Sounds good. Don't touch it. So that's pretty much the drums, man. Like, I'll show you those in their entirety again there. So that's pretty much everything, yo. Top to bottom, start to finish, how we got that beat to that stage. So if you enjoyed this video, give me a subscribe, chuck us a like, give us a thumbs up, click that notification bell so you can see when the next one's coming. And happy mixing, y'all. Appreciate it. Peace.